In this video, we want to create this logo in Illustrator. It's the letter E in 3D form. It contains strokes and transparent top. A transparent top to give the impression of a glass logo. Alright, so I'll do it here. We don't have to have the grid now because we're not going to be snapping to the grid. The first thing I will do is type the letter E. Preferably use a thick font. So here I used bold. I'm going to right click and choose create outlines because I want to be able to use this as a shape, not as a text object. What I want to do now is give it a horizontal appearance with perspective. So far it's standing upright. I want to make it horizontal and make the back side smaller than the front side, thus giving it a perspective look. It's very easy to do this. All I have to do is go to Effect, Distort, and Free Distort. And here, I will take the top point and move it down. And I'll take the other one and also move it down, but in such a way that the distance between these 2 points is smaller than these two. So if I grab this and actually moved it, it would actually have a more perspective effect. I don't want to exaggerate it, but that's the way you can do it. So that's my perspective effect using the free distort. Alright, I try as much as I can to keep these two lines horizontal. Alright, so let's say that that's the one. I press OK, and there it is. Now, if I go to Object and choose Expand Appearance, I would get individual points that I can move. Alright, if I didn't do that, no ما في تحت ما في شيء. Alright, so if I didn't do that, I would have access to the original points that make up the letter E, and I can change these and the result will update in the distorted object. So you have the option to either keep it like this. For example, if you wanted to make the arms longer, you can select these points from here, and with my keyboard I'm moving them to the right, and so forth. So you have the option to either manipulate individual points by going to Object and Expand Appearance, or by moving these original points. Alright, so once I have this, I'm actually undoing. Why? Because I see that this line is not perfectly horizontal. So I'll redo the distort step. Alright, so Effect, Distort, and Free Distort. Apply new effect, and I try as much as I can to keep the lines on the same horizontal. It works in case you didn't, but I like to make them as perfect as possible. Alright, so now the effect is more, and there it is. So maybe it's too much. Yeah, I'll put it like this. Alright, so now I want to color it, so I'll go here and give it a color. Now I want to color it in such a way that you can see it better, so let me try another color. Alright, so I chose yellow just so that you see it better on your screens, and I want to give it a stroke, so I'll select it and go down here and select black for the stroke, and that's it. I set the thickness to 1. Now I'll press Ctrl C, Ctrl F to create another copy in place and move it up like this. Now I want the top part to be semi-transparent, so if I go to my original, I see that the top part is semi-transparent while the stroke is still opaque. and we see that the other strokes are hidden by the top one, by the top side. So let's see how we can separate the stroke from the fill. Actually, for the new one, I'm gonna set the stroke to 0, and I'll select the actual object, and I'll go to appearance. I go to transparency, which is where I can reduce the opacity, say to 50%. Alright, so once I do that, this is semi-transparent now. But where's the stroke? The reason I removed the stroke is because if I did give it a stroke, the stroke will also be transparent, which is not what I want. So instead, I'll make a copy, Control C, Control F, and I'll set the opacity to 100, but I won't have any fill. Instead, I will have a black stroke. So that would be the result. Alright, now I can select these two if I like. Alright, I just want to select the top two. Here I see that I can't really select them because they're overlapping. The way to select them is from the layers. Alright, so the one you click on from here will be selected. So if I selected this and I moved, I'd be moving the lower one, and so forth. So if I click here on the circle and press Control on the other circle, I'd be selecting the top two. So I'm just gonna move them to create a more dramatic effect. Now all I have to do is go to line and create a line that goes down from the top to the bottom. Alright, and this has the same thickness of 1. Alright, now I don't want to select the other ones because they might obstruct my work, so I'm gonna lock these. So object, lock, selection, that's Control 2. The same for this one, Control 2, and the same for that one. So now I cannot select these objects, I can just select the lines, which means that Alt and move to create the copies, and I do that at every corner. This is an easy step here. Alright, I think I have everything covered. No, I still have one here. Alright, now I want these strokes or lines to be hidden by the top side. So I'm gonna select the top side from the layers, which is found down here, by clicking on the circle of it. Okay, it's locked, so I'm gonna unlock from here, select it, and move it up so that it covers the other lines. Alright, so now it looks like it's on top of the other ones. And at the end, once I'm happy with the result, I can select the whole thing, Control G to group, and I have one object. But make sure that you group everything, because some parts are locked and therefore not selectable. So I'll unlock them, reselect, Control G, and now it's one object.